We're gonna try out this thing right now. We're gonna try a little vlogging, I guess. I would be surprised if the truck actually doesn't throw this thing all over the place, but we're gonna try it. So I just got done volunteering at Women's Resource Center that I volunteer at, and my main job here is to counsel the men, the dads, on how important it is to be a dad and different things that you need to know to be a dad. And a lot of the guys, this is their first kid that they're having, and they can go through this whole program to learn how to be better parents, and they have resources like they're given stuff for their kids. Like there's a baby boutique, as they call it, where they're given clothes or food or materials or anything they need, and they get money to shop in the baby boutique by going to these classes. And there's classes for both men and the women, but it's really important to have these resources for men, especially because the woman makes her decision about whether she's going to keep a child or not based on whether she feels supported. It's almost like men are kind of made to be the providers. Go figure. That's what the numbers bear out. That's what the statistics show, that women are exponentially more inclined to keep a child if they've got a man involved, ready to be a father. So that's part of what I do there as a dad, and well, a man clearly, and someone who cares about kids. It's, I guess, the best way that I know how to put my money where my mouth is, so to speak. You know, it's pretty easy just to say that you believe in something and to have an opinion about something. Let me see if I can just double check this thing, if it's, yeah, that's where I want it to be. You know, it's pretty easy to have an opinion about something and talk about it on social media, or even just talk about it in your friend group, or vote about it. I know, you know, voting of course is important, but you know, sometimes you just have to walk your example instead of just talk your example. So this is one of the ways that I try to talk my example. You know, I believe in the sanctity of life. I believe that humans are intrinsically valuable at conception. I think science proves that. There's data that suggests that at the moment of conception, the light is emitted, like at the very connection point. And I just don't know how you can argue any other way that is not the beginning of life. I mean, it's just so obvious. Particularly if you're a person with the inclination of trust the science, as they say. Now, I don't subscribe to that particular idea, because, you know, trust the science means that I'm going to blindly follow an expert in whatever they say is true, especially when it's politically motivated. That's really what it means. It's not what they say it means, but that is really what it means. For me, I think trusting the science means take a look at what what people who are smarter than you have to say, what the data has to say, and then using critical thinking to make up your own mind what you think about it. I don't think it means blindly following anybody's advice. It doesn't mean you shouldn't listen. It doesn't mean you shouldn't consider what they have to say, but it definitely means that you have a responsibility in this too, and that is to use your critical thinking. Unfortunately, that is not a common thing in our society. Mainly, I think that's because of the school system. And well over 100 years, particularly starting in the Industrial Revolution, of a school system meant to create obedient, non-thinking workers rather than self-actualized, free-thinking individuals in a free society. Let's see what this car is going to do. I could probably go on and on about that for plenty of hours, but I digress. So kind of a tangent for my first little try. Maybe I should actually talk about this being my first video. So this is my first video. This is my first time trying out the equipment that I just bought. And, I probably could have made other videos plenty of times before. I've had an iPhone for years and years. But, there's a saying, it says the best time to start something new is 20 years ago. The next best time is now. And in my case, probably about 10 plus years ago, 15 years ago, whenever that was, when YouTube came into being in popularity. And I'll tell you what, man, I was there for the ride from the beginning. Whenever I was first introduced to YouTube in its very early days, I was smitten with the platform, and I have been ever since. It is by far my favorite place on the internet. And I guess that probably tracks. I think 85% of YouTube users are male, young men. And I don't really know why that is, but I've always likened it to, it opens up the possibility for anything and everything. Whatever your interests are, you can explore it, especially with other people who are interested in that thing. And I guess men tend to be, they talk about kids, men tend to be more interested in objects, and women tend to be more interested in people or relationships. So I guess it tracks based on the natural inclinations of the sexes. But yeah, so I've always loved YouTube, and I've always thought it would be great to be a YouTuber, but I never really thought that I had anything worth saying, or it's not even that I didn't have anything worth saying, but it's just I felt like if I didn't have something really polished, or I wasn't just naturally really funny, or I wasn't just really good at a hobby, or an expert in some subject, all of that helps for sure. Doesn't hurt at all. And I do have my expertise in certain things, and my hobbies and all that stuff, and maybe we'll get into those at some time. Maybe we'll find the one thing that people like to hear about from me. But that's kind of what I think I've finally decided to do, because for so long I felt like I had to have it all figured out, and the reality is you just don't. Seth Godin, he's a fella, I've taken a couple of his courses over the years, big in marketing, big marketing guy, bald head, looks kind of like Howie from America's Got Talent. Really cool guy. And he has a phrase, and that is just ship it. I have not followed that advice very well. I've given that advice to other people, but I have not followed that advice very well. And it's time for me to follow that advice. It's time for me to just ship it. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm just gonna start shipping it. I've got some interesting videos, some big, long, probably, what's the word? Probably ambitious videos, one in particular that will be about this truck that I'm driving right now and the journey that I took to go get it. So we're gonna do some stuff like that, but I also think sometimes it's good just to have a friend. Just have someone to talk to and go along and do life with and look at life with, and I don't know, just go along for the ride. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna ship it. And I'm also gonna remember the Wayne Gretzky quote / Michael Scott for any of the Office fans out there. You miss every shot you don't take. And there's been a lot of that in my life where I've just been thinking, you know, you miss every shot you don't take. And that means that when you don't try something, you just guarantee that you're gonna fail. You guarantee that you're not gonna win if you don't try it. Teddy Roosevelt has got his Man in the Arena poem or speech, I guess, that talks about this too. Highly recommend you go read that. I can't quote it. But essentially, the takeaway from that is at least if you have tried and failed, you have honor, much more so than anyone who jeers on the sidelines and never dared to try. So, yeah, I'm gonna try it out, and gonna not worry about it being perfect, and I'm gonna not worry about trying to get it all figured out. I'm just gonna send it. So, yeah, that's going to be the channel. At least that's how it's going to start out. And this channel, who knows what it's going to turn into. It might be nothing. It might just be for me. That's okay. Maybe it's for somebody else out there. Maybe there's somebody in particular who really needs to hear something. And if that's the case, I can't wait for them to hear what they need to hear. I'm here for it. Alright, well, so I guess that's my channel. I'm Andrew. This is going to be the Randall Ruckus channel. Came up with that name a long time ago when I should have shipped this a long time ago. And I've been sitting on it for a long time. And yeah, it's 2025. It's July. World's a crazy place. And half the time you don't know what's going to happen. But also, it's kind of just all about your own perspective. So here's to my perspective, and I'll share it with you. And then maybe we can figure out some stuff together. All right, peace.